Well, I think this is a very important conference to really deal with these environmental issues and different diseases like cancer in humans, and also to try to reveal what's behind the scene. I mean, these conflicts of interest which we have discussed today, which is a very important issue, for example, and how to progress in prevention of human diseases. Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, we have gaining more and more knowledge about the low-level exposure to pesticides, to ionizing radiation, and now also radio frequencies that creates health problems, and especially the children are vulnerable, and also during the fetal period. And this has been studied very little, and my impression is that money talks, so it's very difficult for science to penetrate into the society and those who are making the legal justice to prevent disease. No, definitely not. That's why this appeal is so important, to gather people and try to convince the politicians that here is a problem. I don't think, for example, that the EU REACH is that far to really prevent diseases. So much more needs to be done, and it seems that politicians are not very knowledgeable about the risk that we have just now. I mean, there's an enormous increase of chemicals in the society, which we know very little about. The long-term health effects. We do not know very much about the combination of different exposures. Usually we test one exposure at one time, but we do not know much about if you combine the exposures in the human society. And after all, cancer is increasing. It's one disease which is a real problem in society now. I think we need to make the good research, of course, but we need also to discover these conflicts of interest and to discuss them and to publish. It's very important that these conflicts of interest are revealed and it's published in the scientific literature, so that it shouldn't be hidden. I mean, a conflict of interest is per se, it's hidden, we don't know about it, but when we know about the conflicts of interest, that the light shine on it, and we need to reveal these persons. They have often like economic interest in the conflicts of interest. Well, yeah, I think that could be, actually, as you suggest, it could be a scientific or academic discipline to look more into this issue of conflicts of interest. But it's also something for lawyers, for example, to reveal it, because it's so important to know what's behind a statement, like the recent one by WHO that there is no substance that radio frequencies give an increased risk for cancer. I mean, how is that kind of statement, which is wrong, created, and who is writing it? And we need to lift the embargo and know who is doing these kind of statements and also publish these findings. I think that one should have committees, groups of persons who are independent and look into the scientific literature and then make recommendations to the politicians. I mean, many pesticides should actually be banned, but there seems to be some tendency even to reinforce the use of different, or at least some pesticides, so it goes somehow in the wrong direction. But it should be groups of persons who are independent, who make the evaluations and give the evaluations to the politicians, and also make these findings available for the lay persons, for all persons in the society, so that we could have groups of persons that can have a pressure on the politicians too. Yes, it's a crime, of course. I mean, if you strictly talk about persons who are even lying about cancer risks and people are even dying, it's a criminal. It's criminal to do that. So I think this is a crime against human beings, a crime against the the unborn child and the children who cannot protect themselves. That's of course also for most grown-up persons in the society. We can't protect, and we have to rely upon the authorities, because we cannot individually go and see where is the risk and where is not the risk. So to create and give exposure to human beings creating diseases, that's a crime.